Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our podcast show, Knowledge to Inspire. I am Lauren Patterson, author of Freeing Your Heart for Love.
And I'm Tiffani, author of Unlocking Your Ability to Heal.
Our sole purpose is to discuss a variety of topics, both popular and taboo. We will be sharing our personal experiences and present experts, inspiring guests, professionals, and upcoming authors, all with the wisdom and knowledge to inspire you. So, Tiffani, what are we toasting to today?
Let's see, what are we toasting to today? Well, you know, my book is an interior layout. I finally caught up on all my work, so I'm able to focus on my websites for my business, revamping them and everything. So that means progress.
Yes.
So I'm excited. So I'm toasting to that today with my vitamin water.
Yay. Wait, so you're in layout. So when do you get your book back from layout?
I just sent them. I had Tyler, my editor, re-edit everything, and then I sent it all back just today. So they have everything now. So however long it takes them, I'm not sure how long, and I'm just waiting for it to come back, because then that's when I get to go for the approval. I'm so excited.
Yay! You almost have it in your hands. Oh my gosh, how exciting. I can't wait for my order. I pre-ordered, so can't wait.
Yes, what's your website? Tell people, shout out your website for your pre-order.
Oh yeah, mine, freeingyourheartforlove.com.
She currently has a pre-order going on, so definitely go there.
Yeah. So I'm toasting to, I had a really great experience. So I had somebody from my husband's work come up to him. He knew about the pre-order, and he told my husband, it's not really a book I will read, but I want to buy a bunch of books and I want her to donate it. So he wants to give me the money to buy books, and then I just donate the books.
Yay, that is wonderful.
I know.
That is so amazing.
So he told my husband, he loves what I'm doing. He loves the message. He loves how vulnerable I was and how brave I was to come out with my story. And I almost started crying, because, you know, those are the comments that make us feel good about why we came out with our story, you know?
Yes.
So
yes, we need to hear that positive reinforcement, that feedback, because it just, I don't know, for me, it feels like a renewed sense of, motivation, to keep going.
Yeah.
You know, we all have those thoughts, those limiting thoughts, like to come back and creep in and be like, oh, you're not good enough. Oh, you're this, you're that. It's like, be quiet. I'm amazing.
And you know, Tiffani, you're so right, because I have been feeling very doubtful even after I'm in professional editing, and I still feel doubtful about releasing my story. It's just crazy. Like those thoughts just creep in, and then it's like I have to go back to my purpose of writing it to begin with, right? To inspire people.
Yes.
So if I go back to that place, then I'm like, okay. But then I still feel scared sometimes. I'm like, should I release this? This is like my soul. I'm bearing my soul to the world. But you know, I'm excited. My book comes back from editing today. So
exciting.
First round only.
Do you have plans to finish reviewing it this week, or what are your plans?
Yeah, review it this week, next week, and then be done by the end of January.
Oh wow.
Editing. And then layout.
I'm excited for you.
I'm trailing right behind you.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's so crazy. Soon, and then we'll have these big, huge launch parties and everything. It's going to be gravy.
I know. So our topic today, Tiffani, is joyful. So what makes you feel joyful? And we are wearing our yellow sweaters.
Our theme today is joyful and yellow. I did some eyeshadow to match.
And so what makes you feel joyful, Tiffani?
Knowing that my book is almost done. No, joy. What brings me joy? The first thing that I think any mother says is her children, because it's true. I'm sitting here thinking, and all I can think about is my little boys' faces, their smiles. My children are my world. Everything I do for them. They bring me joy. And even though they're crazy little monsters sometimes, I look at them and I'm just like, I love them. They're my children. They're my little boys. They're my everything. So they definitely bring me joy. Something else that really brings me joy is the sun, honestly. Like being able to go outside and just and having a nice warm day, and it's not
Mhm.
cold or too hot, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day. That really, really brings me joy. And I miss that. I haven't been exercising outside as much as I used to when it was warmer.
Yeah.
But I try to do a little stuff here inside my house, but still, I'm excited for the sun to come back into my life. How
Yeah.
about you? What brings you joy?
I'm like you. I mean, I love the sun. We're in California, so we get sun almost every day. Um,
I miss that. I miss
yeah,
the California sun.
it's so worth it. I mean, the rent's expensive, but the weather is beautiful. But you know, just like you, I mean, my family, my husband, my children, my grandchildren, like all of them bring me joy. And, you know, I just feel full in my heart. And I go outside. My hummingbirds, love my hummingbirds. I was having a moment this today, and my hummingbird Rose kept coming by. She kept flying by my window. I'm like, okay, Rose, I get it.
That's
But,
so
you know,
cute.
I was really up close and personal with her yesterday because I was sitting out there enjoying the sun, like what you said. It's such a nice day yesterday. And I have these Adirondack chairs, and I'm just sitting outside, and she just comes flying over me and starts eating from the feeder. And I just got a really cool video of her. But you know, lately my hummingbirds have been bringing me lots of joy.
Yeah, they have. I'm witness to that. I've seen that. That's great, though. I actually thought of you the other day because the TV was on and there was a little hummingbird. So now, whenever I see a hummingbird, I think of you and Rose.
Yeah.
So cute.
They're just so cute, you know, and then to watch them play, I know their sounds now, you know, when they're buzzing, you can hear their wings like flapping. It's amazing, like when you open your eyes to nature, like how
Yes.
much you actually appreciate, you know, and you can hear them making their little bird sounds, because now I know like when they're there, because I know their bird sound. So
That's
it just
cute.
always makes me happy. So yeah.
Well, thank you, Rose.
Yeah.
Rose.
But we have an amazing guest on today, right, Tiffany? We're just going to wait for her to log on. Um,
Yes, and she's actually going to help us figure out how we can connect more and become more joyful through all these amazing topics that she does.
mhm.
Um, she's a medium, a spiritual teacher, things like that. So I'm really excited to learn and see what else I can learn from her. Because as we all know, when you stop learning, you become brain dead.
Yeah.
You keep learning, keep evolving. There's no such thing as one person in this world that knows everything. So
Yeah.
there's always something to learn.
And you know, like they say that, like when you retire, right? Like a lot of people don't want to retire because your brain turns to mush, you know, and you're just sitting around doing nothing. Although I want to start a hobby or something. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. My stepmother actually does a lot of building and crafting. Not even crafting. It's more. It's like crafting on steroids. Like she knows how to remodel stuff. I'm serious. And she
Oh,
doesn't
wow.
work, and she posts it all over Facebook. And it's like, what? And I'm like, my basement's still not done. I'm trying to get her to come down here so she can help me with my basement.
Is she posting on Etsy? Because you know, Etsy has some really good, like people can advertise on there and make some money.
Yes, they can. But she likes to do this for her house. So they're just
Oh,
upgrading the whole house. So
okay.
shelving to replacing. I mean, it's like a Western theme, so it's
Mhm.
really neat. So it's kind of a, what's the word? Rustic
Oh, nice.
wood, thick heavy
Yeah.
metal, like things like that. That kind of look. So it looks really nice.
Is it like decorations that she puts in her house or?
Yes.
Okay.
And like installing tile. Like so she on the outside of her house, she grabbed all these different colored tiles, different colors, different textures, and all that jazz, and broke them with a hammer. And then she put them together to piece this amazing, like I would think it was a cactus. And then she made
Mm.
a sun off to the side, and it's really cute. It's super cute. And then she also found an old broken toilet, and a toilet that's just abandoned, leftover toilet. And a lot
Yeah.
of people were commenting like, "What are you doing? Like that's weird." Okay, and
Yeah.
even I was just like, "A toilet? Like really?" And I'm like, "Oh." And then when she started putting the pieces on it, and it started coming to life. I was like, wow, okay, that is pretty cool. I have to. But if you can hook up and bling a toilet like that, I'm sorry, but that's a talent. That's a talent.
You are so funny. Bling a toilet. Okay, we're gonna bring Julia on, Tiffani.
All right, let's do it.
Bring her in. Hi, Julia.
Hi, Julia.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm great. How are you guys?
We're good.
We're very joyful in our yellow joyful.
Yeah, I noticed that. I'm like, oh, I didn't get the memo.
Oh, Lord, you should have told her.
I know. Tiffani and I come up with these topic and themes like at the last minute, and our theme today is joyful. Like, how do you bring joy into your life? And so we're like, oh, let's just wear yellow.
Yeah, so good.
Right?
So thank you for joining us. Tiffani's going to just, tell everybody a little bit. This is pre-recorded, but we pretend like we're live.
Okay.
So Tiffani's going to go ahead and just introduce you to everyone.
All right.
Okay, everybody. So this is Julia Wesley, and she is a medium, a spiritual teacher, and I don't know if I'm saying this correctly, but an Akashic Records reader and soul blueprint healer who helps reintroduce you to who you really are. I really like that. So I'm excited to hear about everything it is that you want to talk to us about. So can you explain about all of that, everything?
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on. This is so cool. So you got really close. It's Akashic Records. Close enough. I got it. So what I do is in my work, I really focus on the importance of you being you. A lot of the times this is what we think about when we're like, what is my purpose? What am I here to do? What are these things that I want to be and to express and to bring into the world? What is my joy? And that is an expression of you. So when I go into the Akash, what I'm doing is I am going there to access your soul blueprint, but I also do deeper Akashic Records work where I make sure that you're not picking up on energies from other lifetimes and trying to re-experience in this lifetime. So we focus on this specific life and everything that you were literally created to do.
That's interesting.
Yes. I might want a reading for myself.
I love giving these readings because both of them for different reasons. A soul blueprint alignment is honestly one of my favorite things to do because it sort of wakes you up to who you are. A lot of the times we're living out of alignment with who we are. We don't know what we want. We're listening to other people tell us what we should want or what we should do. And then we're also listening to other people tell us how we should be doing it because that's as unique as you. And a lot of the times when I tell people everything that they were literally they're designed to do, just what their energy expresses and holds, it kind of freaks them out because it's all of your wishes and your hopes and your dreams and all those things that make you feel vulnerable to express. And so that's exciting. But Akashic Records readings, like those are really cool. We get deep into like what went into the pot when we created you. So that's super fun.
Oh, wow. That sounds really cool. I remember someone telling me about money blueprint before. And a lot of people are using that blueprint now. And it makes sense because you are what you're taught as a child and what you grow up in. So it's like, that's all I really know. But it'd be interesting to see like what I was born to do. I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, but there might be something else. I want to be a singer.
Yeah, it's all possible. What's so cool about your blueprint is we think it's just one thing, right? Like I'm here to do just one thing, but we're really like Renaissance men and women. Like we have so many different gifts and things that we're here to express. And the fun is trying to figure out how exactly do I want to do it? How do I want to create it?
Nice.
You mentioned something that spoke to me. You said that with the Akashic reading, you end up trying to make sure that you're not picking up old energies from other lifetimes. Is that something that only you can identify, or is it something like we could identify? Is there an easy way to identify that?
That's really interesting. I'm not sure. So for me, it's so unique the way that I go into the Akash and I work with a guide. So to me, the way that I experience the Akashic Records, a lot of people experience it in a different way. It's called the Akashic Records, the Hall of Records, because that's sort of how people experience it to them. For me, I don't really do that. I just sort of wait at the entrance and I snag a guide and I'm like, hey, I need this information, and they go pull it for me, because for me, it's more of a dimension. So it's just a bunch of information that hasn't been compiled yet until I ask someone to do it. So for me, that's how it's so unique. For you, you may be able to pick it up in a very different way that is much quicker. But typically, if you find yourself stuck in a rut, if you find yourself repeating a pattern that you're like, haven't I done this already? Like, am I done yet? That can really be a sign that you're still tuning into a different experience that your soul is having in a different time and place. And so part of it is just cutting off your connection to that and helping you refocus on right now.
Mm. And
Oh, that's super interesting.
do you have to do so with the pandemic and everything? Can you do things via Zoom, or do you have to be like one-on-one with someone in person?
So good question. So I typically do all of my work by Zoom just because it's easiest. I don't need to be in person with you to do this work, especially with the Akashic Records, is I actually go in a couple days before we meet and I pull all of the information and I channel all of the healings, and I write that down and I sort of format it and structure it in a way that's easily digestible. And then I explain it to you. And it's interesting. I really do all of the healing work beforehand. So in the couple days before, you may feel kind of like irritated or annoyed or maybe sad or anything. It's because I'm working through the energy with you behind the scenes.
Oh.
And then 2 days later, I'll be like, so you may have felt a little annoyed, and people are like, oh.
Wow.
That's what that was.
Yeah.
I love, like, I'm learning so much about energy work. I mean, you know, Suzanne and Joe, right? Tiffany, and they're a few of our authors in our author community, and
Cool.
they're both energy healers, and one does Akashic teachings, and she's actually an Akashic teacher. And so I'm learning so much about energy, and it makes sense because we are full of energy. And today I did like a meditation on preserving your energy, you know, setting healthy boundaries when somebody's trying to take your energy, you know, try to set healthy boundaries with that and protect your energy. And I was just like, yes, put the cloak over me. And so
yeah, absolutely.
How long does it take?
I'm sorry?
How long does it take? Like one of the readings?
Wow. So it kind of depends. For an Akashic Records reading, it can take me somewhere up to like 4 or 5 hours sometimes to pull the information. It depends on how much healing is involved. Sometimes I get clients who are sort of just looking for validation and confirmation on what they're here to do. That's sort of like the newer children that have come here and they're like, I don't feel like I fit anywhere. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. You don't yet, but you will. And a lot of the times I get older clients who do need a little bit of that healing. And so that can take longer, but it's in-depth work, but it's something that'll really last you a really long time, you know, because you get that foundation of who you are. And it's so refreshing to not be trying to live someone else's experience. So if I can explain it a little bit, if you guys wouldn't mind.
Yes, please.
Okay. So the way that I view my work is there is you, there's what I call the oversoul, which sounds creepy and like an overlord kind of a thing, but it's not. And it's just this sort of God complex consciousness in a way that is capable of having a infinite amount of experiences at the same time, because time is nonlinear. That's how I can go into the records and pick up everybody's records. And so what happens is that actually I have never had a past life. You have never had a past life. It's none of us ever have, because we are specifically created to live this life right here, right now. So when we're talking about me or you, we're normally talking about our identity, our ego, our personality, the thing that makes us us, right? And so that is unique to this specific experience. It's a lens that has never been created before or looked through before and will never be looked through again. So that's why you're so special. And when we are picking up on other experiences, like say a lot of the times people are like, oh, I was a Salem witch, or oh, I was a nobleman, or oh, I was a peasant in Germany. You weren't. You're just picking up on an experience that is resonating with an experience that you're having in this lifetime. Oftentimes it's a trauma, right? So oftentimes we're looking for our identity in this lifetime. We are bored being human. And so we look to the past and different experiences to find meaning and to almost find power in it, right? Because we're too afraid to find our own. We're too afraid to live this life. It's boring. I don't like it, yada, yada. And then so we're like, well, I was Cleopatra. And so that's what I'm here to do, and be clear. And actually, no. So that's what I do. I refocus your gaze, and then I tell you how special you are and why you were created in the first place. And then we focus on living this life now.
Wow.
I love
it. Sounds like a lot.
It is, but I think a lot of people could benefit from that because, you know, I wrote my book, Unlocking Your Ability to Heal, because I believe that we all have this innate ability inside of ourselves to heal from trauma and everything. So I feel like that is something that would definitely help people because they need to look back and see. And the soul blueprint, can you give a little bit more detail about that one?
Yeah, so actually that's a little bit of a funny story how I came into it. I figured out that I was doing soul blueprints because I was studying or mentoring under a medium, trying to be like, well, let me tell you what your grandma is up to. And instead, I kept getting shown by my guides snowflakes with people standing in the middle of them, you know, just to signify that this is their specialness. This is what makes them unique. This is what makes them you. And I was like, oh, you're showing me like their blueprint, you know, so it's like a mandala or, you know, snowflake. We're all special snowflakes, right? And so it took me a little bit to figure out that this is just what I naturally attune to. So what they explained to me and what I've learned over the many, many times I've done this is we all come here with a plan. We all come here with a certain consciousness that is going to be expressed through us, right? So we're all little fractals of God. So we all have every single aspect of everything within us, right? But it's what quantity and in what way are we expressing these things? So all of us have a sense of humor, but not everyone leads with a sense of humor, right? So maybe some people are better leaders than other. Maybe some people are like, I don't really want to put that much energy into that. You go ahead, I'll lead, I'll follow. So that's sort of what that is. That's your makeup. And typically when I do a soul blueprint alignment, what I'm doing is I'm picking up on the energetic imprint of who you are. And I'm trying to put you back in alignment. So it's sort of like a two overlapping clear pieces of paper, I guess, with a design on them. And sometimes we're like close, but not really. And then so I'm just trying to get you to be like that again, you know? So that's what that's like.
Oh, nice. It kind of reminds me of when chiropractors put you back into alignment.
Yeah.
You know, like I always feel amazing when I go to the chiropractor. I feel like I could run around the block a few times.
That's what it is. Yeah. It's kind of funny because, I mean, so their chiropractors are kind of doing energy work, right? Where, because the spine is so important for holding and channeling energy and making sure that you're in alignment. And so it's very similar. But that seems more or less like they're working with your bodies, like your physical energy, rather than when I'm sort of like tuning into like your mental, emotional body, your spiritual body type of thing.
Yes. I will definitely be contacting you after the show.
Oh, good. Fun.
Do you have an amazing experience that you could share with us with one of the people that you've worked with or anything?
Oh, wow.
That would wow people?
There's so many. So, okay. Well, interesting things. So, like things that people came here to do. One of my favorite ones that I ever was shown was someone was here to literally create sacred spaces. Like she would go out into nature and she'd walk around and she would work with like nature spirits, like gnomes and trolls, you know, all of these things. And I'm like, that's real. And she would go out and she would work with these energies to create a literal sacred space. And when I told her this, she's like, oh yeah. I was like, what? Like, you know that you do this? She's like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I do that all the time. And like my yoga play practice. And I'm like, okay. So that was really fun for me because I'm always learning. Every time I do one of these readings, my guides like to throw me a curveball and see if I'll catch it. let's see. And is there another one? So this is a kind of an extreme example of what a soul blueprint can healing or alignment can do for you. Is when I was first learning this, I was giving a reading for someone who had sort of really veered off their path. And I didn't know it at the time. She didn't tell me until after the reading, but she had really gotten into like drugs and addiction and alcohol, and she was actually on something during the reading. And so the reading I gave her seemed like so totally out of whack from what she knew to be true about herself. But there was this very strong message of how she was really like a spiritual leader. She had really given herself a lot to do, a lot of responsibility. She was very good at holding the energy of Christ consciousness. And it was something that she was just freaked out by in this life, and she didn't know what to do with it or how to embody it, and she didn't think she was good enough to do any of that. And it kind of freaked her out, but at the same time she was like, okay, I guess I got work to do. So that is also one of the really cool things about like a soul blueprint is you get that validation, right, that you're as special as you're afraid to think you are.
You're as special as you're afraid to think you are.
Yeah.
Wow. That was powerful. Wow.
How did you get started in all of this?
So that's a funny story. I had been dealing with depression and anxiety for like the majority portion of my life. And it had gotten to the point where I was like, I got to do something, like I was too scared to go and get like formally diagnosed and work with a therapist. And so I was like, what else can I do? Because I can't keep ignoring it. And I dove headfirst into meditation. It's actually still part of my practice. I do it literally every day. And for like 2 years, I was just doing meditation, trying to work through all my trauma, all my stuff, all the stuff I didn't want to look at. And through this, I had been having spiritual experiences, but I had just sort of like brushed them off, it didn't kill me, like who cares? And so one day, this is the one that finally stuck. I was sitting on my couch and I was meditating, and I got a bit of information from my grandmother came through, something about she needed to adopt a kitten and she should have more joy or whatnot. And I was like, well, that's funny, whatever. And I went back into meditation. And then one of her guides walked up and literally flicked me on the forehead. Like I felt it, and it freaked me out. I was like, what was that? I looked up and I opened my eyes and I saw like a sparkle out in front of me, like a really concentrated form of consciousness is just how I know how to put it. And I knew it was that guide, and I was like, oh my God. And so I was like feverishly trying to be like, how do I learn mediumship classes, mediumship workshop? And lo and behold, the universe was like, here, in 2 weeks, there's a mediumship workshop that you can go to. And yeah, that worked out. And even funnier, my dad was like, hey, can I come down and visit you, this time? And I'm like, you can come, but you're learning mediumship with me. And he's like, okay. It turns out he's a medium too.
Wow.
So, yeah, a little more than he bargained for. He doesn't practice like I do, but it was still pretty funny.
Wow. I love that story.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get Tiffani to meditate every day too. But
Oh, man.
I just started meditating last year, and I've been getting higher. I did a meditation on letting go of the old guides and bringing in new. And I literally can feel my body warm with the sun that I see, like, so I know what you mean by feeling things. And I even smell certain things sometimes next to me. And the candles, I told Tiffani about this, like my candles were on one time and I didn't touch the candles. And so like a lot of, last night I had an experience, and I don't even know where this is coming from, but I just woke up really scared, and I felt a presence there. I was like, I don't know, someone's here. So the more I meditate, the more I'm opening my higher consciousness up, and I feel things now and I see things, and it's amazing. I'm not scared, but I was scared last night. I don't know what that feeling was, but it literally like jolted me out of my sleep. And I just, I practice Nichiren Buddhism, and I just chanted, and then I felt better. But it was just some kind of energy pull that was doing something to me. And I was just like, whoa, I don't know what to do with this.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I keep interrupting you.
No, I was just asking you what your take was on that, Julia, what she said. I'm curious.
Yeah, I was going to offer it. So it's funny. I also really, I wouldn't consider myself like a strict follower of Buddhism, but I love it as well. I think it's what helped heal me. And it's funny because as you meditate, you will start having these experiences because it does things to your brain. Like it opens you up. It really shows you what your consciousness, who you really are. And so as soon as you tune into that stuff, other things out there in the ethers start being like, oh, this one turned their light on. So Lauren, what you were going through reminds me of an experience I had after I had the mediumship workshop and I started doing this like full tilt and things started happening. And I was like, what's going on? And so there was a period of time where I had to sleep with all the lights on. I couldn't, I'm getting ready for work in the morning and I'm like checking about what's going on in the living room because there are like 3 creepy dead ladies in there. And I'm like, what are you doing here? You know? And your experience actually reminds me of an experience that I was having where this dead guy tried to wake me up when I was asleep. And I woke up completely freaked out because I'm like, there's someone in my house. There's someone who touched me. What is happening? And I still remember what he looked like. He's like this late 20s to early 30s, blonde hair, blue jeans, sweatshirt. And I'm like, oh, this can't keep happening. You know, none of this. And so I think that's probably what that was. You strike me as a medium, actually.
Yeah. And I've been being drawn to, I'm meeting a lot of people who do a lot of energy work, people like you, and I feel like I can feel it now. Like I'm opening my mind up to this, and literally it took my breath away. And I looked at my plant. There's a flower next to my dresser and there was words there, but I couldn't make it out because I was so scared. And I didn't see anybody, but I saw words and I just felt a spirit. And I'm like, oh my, I woke my husband up. I said, babe, somebody's here. And my cable box was flashing, and that was flashing last time I felt the presence. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should do medium work.
Yeah, you definitely strike me as a medium, but then also you carry the energy of someone who's an energy healer. They're giving me a sign for you, like the mandala as well. So I think that you're also picking up on the energetic imprints of spaces and people. Mm-hmm. I think that's what you do as well. So you should probably look into Reiki and see if that, because I think you'd be very good at it. You'd probably pick it up really quick.
Wow. Thank you. So Tiffani, do we have more questions we have a little bit more time. We're still kind of early with our time.
So people with the Akashic record reading, it's not something, it is or it isn't something where people can ask questions?
Oh, thank you for asking. That's a good question. I don't really have people ask that. So it's totally possible. What I do is I pull the information beforehand, which it's pretty much just like I'm going to their reference. I'm pulling references beforehand, but I've been schooled and educated on everything that they need. And I'm still in contact with their guides when I'm relaying the information to you. So if I have given you the information, but you're still like, well, I don't get it, then you feel free to ask a question because I can still clarify and fill in any blanks because I'm still in contact with your guides. What's funny is after a session and after the healing, my guides actually won't let me go back into someone's record because they're like, don't mess with this, you're done. You know, so that's how you know when a healing is complete, at least for me, is that I can't go back into your record. Like we can't touch it anymore. So.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I want to get a reading. I'm so intrigued.
They're super fun, honestly.
So, Julia, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh, wow. Like an interview question.
I know. That's what I said.
Where do I see myself in 5 years? Put me on the spot. I would really like to write a book, actually, about my experiences and what I have learned. And I'd like to talk about that. I actually would probably like to be teaching people to do what I do. I don't really know anyone who teaches people to read soul blueprints. And so that's something I'm looking to figure out how to create a curriculum around and teach people. So yeah, probably a little more public speaking, doing all that fun stuff, but still giving readings because I love doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, we both know how you can start to write a book. We both wrote one.
Yes. So when you're ready, just let us know.
I'd appreciate it. I'm like, that's a good place to be when
Yes.
you realize your dream of writing a book.
Yeah.
What would you say is the most challenging thing about your business, about doing this work?
The trust in the universe that's needed to
Mm.
realize that there's a little bit of hustle involved because I have to show up and be present, but I am constantly in the process of collaborating with the universe. Like, I'm not pulling this information. I have to trust that the information will come to me. So it's sort of, you need a willingness to stand there and possibly look stupid while you wait for the information to come, and you have to trust that it will.
Mhm.
So it's like every time you give a reading, it's like doing a trust fall. And as someone who loves to be in control, that's the hardest thing for me.
That's so true. Yeah. I'm learning. I trust the universe in the process. That's how I kind of live my life, but I'm learning to let go of the outcome. So
Yeah.
I'm learning to release my desires to the universe and trusting the process and releasing the outcome and not giving up, because everything that's being delivered to me is what I'm asking the universe of. So now when something comes to me that I don't want, particularly like today, I had an experience and I was crying about it, but I'm like, you know what? Thank you, universe. You just delivered what I asked. So I
Yeah.
just kind of like
Beautiful.
changed my thinking back to that, that place
Yeah.
of trusting the universe, because it's hard. I mean, we're human and I'm just like, why is this happening to me?
Yeah. Yeah. I get that 100%. And I think that's really beautiful. The releasing the expectation of the outcome, I
Mhm.
think we can say, oh, I'll trust the universe, but like we like keep peeking in and being like, so how's that going? Like, are we done yet? Like, I like it now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how can people find you? I know that we put your website, but are you on social media? I know you're on Facebook.
I am on Facebook. So you can find me on Facebook at Divine Realignment 377, or probably just Divine Realignment at this point. I think my face will pop up and you'll find me. I'm also on Instagram at divine.realignment. I'm on YouTube as well. And my website is divinerealignment.com. And you can check out my blog if you're sort of interested in what like the foundations of my work are. And then you can book from there as well. And I would love to work with all of you beautiful people.
Awesome. Yeah. And so Tiffani, do you have anything else? I think we usually end the show with a quote or we pull a card.
Beautiful.
So the card that I'm pulling from today is from Louise Hay Heart Thought Cards.
Oh, love it.
See it? Louise Hay is like somebody that I adore, even though she transitioned to her next life. So I'm going to pull. So where do you guys think I should pull from? The middle, the top, or the bottom?
You call it, Julia.
The middle, like the first 2/3.
Okay. First 2/3. Okay. I usually close my eyes. I did this with Tiffani last time. Okay. So this one is, my home is a peaceful haven.
Ooh.
And then on the back, it says, my home is a reflection of myself. As I clean out the closets of my mind, I also make my home a wonderful place to live in. So this is the back side of it.
That is adorable. And right now, that's actually what I'm doing. We've been going through our home and like trying to get rid of stuff, going through cabinets, throwing stuff away, seeing what stuff might be sellable, stuff that we're going to donate, stuff that we're going to recycle. So that really spoke to me. That's great, because I'm, healing mentally and all this other stuff. So now my house has got to, match.
I love that. And that also reminds me, if you come across a spirit or a spook who's trying to mess with you and be like, actually, this is my home and you don't fit. So you gotta go. Boundaries, healing.
Yes. Yeah.
Isn't salt supposed to help with that for protection or something?
Is what?
Salt.
Salt. So salt's really great for creating boundaries. I always preach that it's you that gives the object power rather than the power that, it's your belief in it. So salt is great. You can sort of put it in corners to draw negative energy into it and then collect the salt and chuck it. You can also put it along windowsills. If you're looking to sort of like raise the vibration, for lack of a better term, in a space. I like salt lamps, just because you can kind of keep them on all the time and they're like a nice soothing kind of a thing. But also people swear by sage, Palo Santo, that good stuff. Crystals. Oh man, crystals. We could go off on that.
Yep. We could go off for an hour.
I actually swear by sage. I've saged my house a couple of times and the nightmares went away for a little while and then they came back.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you got to keep doing, you know? Yeah.
But yeah, thank you, Julia. We're so thankful that you joined our show. You're our second guest, actually, for our show.
I'm so honored. Thank you so much for having me. And I really appreciate being the second guest. Wow.
Yeah. And
Cool.
so we put this on YouTube, Facebook. I need to upload it to Anchor still, Tiffani. And then we have a Facebook page now where you could share the video.
Beautiful. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much, you guys.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much. I learned a lot from you, and I'm excited to get a reading done now.
Me too.
Yay! I'm excited to give you a reading.
Okay. Well, thank you, Julia.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.